This is Crime, Mr. Wade, bringing you the stories. Stay tuned for a lot more. Today's unfortunate story is about a Patrick Wayne Kearney. He's also known as the trash bag killer and the freeway killer. He's an American serial killer and necrophilia who murdered a minimum of 21 young men and boys throughout Southern California between the years of 1962 and the year of 1977. Patrick Wayne Kearney was born on September 24th, year of 1939, as the oldest of three sons and was raised in a reasonably stable family of middle-class background. As a thin and sicky child, he was often a target for bullies at school who beat him up frequently and berated him as a queer despite his supposed interest in girls. In his teens, he became more withdrawn and harbored fantasies about killing personal enemies, often ending in Kearney skinning them alive. In addition, he developed sexual fantasies revolving around domination and began engaging in bestiality when he was at the age of 13. Born in East Los Angeles, California, Kearney also lived in Texas. He returned to California between a brief marriage that ended in divorce and eventually worked as an engineer for Hughes Aircraft. It was from his experiences in his early years in California that Kearney cultivated his skill as a gay pickup artist. Kearney mostly sought out partners in San Diego, Tijuana, Mexico, where he used his fluency in Spanish and keen interest in Latin American culture as a basis to connect with potential partners. Kearney claimed to have killed his first victim, a hitchhiker he picked up and murdered in Orange, California, around the year of 1962. He claimed several more victims, mostly transients, before moving to Redondo Beach near Los Angeles in the year of 1967 with a man named David Hill, who became his lover. As time passed, Hill and Kearney began to argue more often, and Kearney will go out for long solitary drives in his Volkswagen Beetle or his truck. He would then pick up and kill young male hitchhikers or young men from gay bars. Kearney was a necrophilia and was generally consistent in the manner in which he murdered his victims and disposed of their remains. Being of slight build, Kearney was unable to physically overpower his victims and used a gun to kill them. He was not sadistic and did not inflict pain on his victims as the two other freeway killers did, preferring quickness and efficiency. While Kearney did later confess to having mutilated his victims' bodies out of curiosity, such a cutting open moment of one of their stomachs, he did so post-mortem and did not inflict any physical suffering. Kearney confessed to having committed his first murder in the spring of the year of 1962. The victim's name is unknown, but he was confirmed to be aged 19 and white. Kearney had convinced the male to take a ride on his motorcycle with him to a secluded area outside of Indio, California. When they arrived, Kearney shot the man in the head and sexually assaulted the body. It is unknown if the body was ever found, but Kearney did indeed confess to committing this murder and two additional ones in the year of 1962. The second victim was younger cousin of Kenny's first victim, who had witnessed Kearney drive away with the victim. The first murder that Kearney confessed to and was convicted of occurred sometime around Christmas, the year of 1968, while he was living in Culver City approximately 1 year after he and David Hill had taken residence together there. The murder took place inside his Van Buren Avenue residence, according to Kearney. This victim, whose name is now known as George, was lured into his vehicle in San Diego and taken to his home, then shot in the head moments after entering his house. The victim was then dragged to his bathroom, where he was sodomized, then skinned and dismembered in the bathtub with an ex olfacto knife. Kearney also extracted the bullet from the victim's head to ensure the murder would not be traced to him. He then buried the dismembered body behind his garage. Kearney did not kill for over a year following this murder, primarily out of fear that law enforcement would inquire about the disappearance of George. Years later, the identity of this victim has yet to be discovered besides his first name. Although Kearney primarily preyed on young men, there were unknown child and adolescent victims as well. Kearney's youngest victim was Ronald Dean Smith, the age of 5, who disappeared in Lenox, California on August 24th, year of 1974. His body was discovered in Riverside County on October 12th, year of 1974. Merle Hondo Chance, 8, of Venice, vanished on April 6th, the year of 1977, while supposedly riding his bicycle in the vicinity of Kearney's place of work. Kearney claims to have smothered the boy, taking his body home overnight and later disposed of the remains in the Angeles National Forest, Angel Crest Highway, approximately 11 miles from Altadena. Chance's decomposed remains were discovered on May 26, year 1977. Merle Chance was Kearney's last known victim. The victim who ultimately led to Kearney's arrest was John Otis LeMay, age 17, whom he killed on Sunday, March 13th, year 1977, at approximately 5:30 p.m. on that same day. LeMay had told a neighbor he was going to Redondo Beach to meet a man named Dave, whom he had met at a local gym. This was, in fact, David Hill, who got given LeMay the address to Kearney's home. Hill was absent when LeMay arrived, so Kearney invited him in to watch television until Hill returned. Without provocation, Kearney impulsively reached for his pistol and shot LeMay in the back of the head. Kearney later dismembered the corpse and dumped the remains in the desert. LeMay's remains were found on March 18th, year 1977. Police had actually been to Kearney's home for the LeMay investigation prior to Chance's kidnapping and murder. The police soon discovered that LeMay had been seen in the company of Kearney and Mr. Hill. Warrants were issued for the arrest of Kearney and Hill on June 3rd. Kearney resigned from his job and the two fled to El Paso, Texas. The fugitives' families persuaded the pair to turn themselves in. Kearney surrendered at the Riverside County Sheriff's Office on July 1st, year 1977, along with Mr. Hill. David Hill, 36 years old at the time, was eventually cleared of any involvement in Kearney's crimes and was released. Kearney made a full confession, initially admitting to a total of 28 murders and subsequently to 7 more. In order to avoid a death sentence, he agreed to plead guilty. Kearney was charged with 21 counts of murder and, as agreed, pleaded guilty. He was given 21 life sentences. Police are certain that Kearney was responsible for the other 7 murders he had admitted to, but lacked the physical evidence to charge him. As of the year 2022, Kearney is incarcerated at California's Mule Creek State Prison. I hope you enjoy this unfortunate story. I'm Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. And once again, we bring it